Greetings, life management students. Let's talk about organization and time management. Two things that most of us really need help with, right? Myself included. So, first of all, let's talk about starting this process of becoming organized. Maybe you're someone who's rather sloppy or someone who just really likes things to not be in their perfect places. That may be your personality, and that's fine. However, when we talk about getting things done, like schoolwork, we have to talk about being organized because it's the best and most efficient way to make things happen. So first of all, we need to create a clean space. There is research that has proven that when you walk into an area or your desk is organized and things are neatly stacked and clean, mentally and emotionally, you feel better. It's peaceful. Versus when you see a desk that just has papers all over it, maybe you think you have a system of knowing where everything is. However, it is somewhat stressing to us inside. So start out, first of all, with having this clean space, right? So that we can concentrate. We can quickly find things, reach what we need. You know, my workspace is organized with everything that I need around it because I need to get things done and get them done quickly. All right, so let's talk about documents. So what we mean is, let's say you become a student, or even if you have a particular job in which you need to work with papers or files. You need to pick a system that works for you. Whether it's keeping everything on your computer, if you're a techie computer person, if you want a paper system, right? You just have, maybe you use files and you color code them or you name them clients' names, or you name them, this is my English folder, this is my history class, this is my math class, right? Whatever works for you. You do want to make sure to have something, some type of what we call a backup system, because what if you're keeping everything on your computer and then something happens where your computer gets stolen or whatever it be? So we want to keep something like a cloud drive. A cloud is like up in the sky, and it's this cloud, or we think of it as being up in the sky. It's a cloud that basically backs up your electronic information or documents. And so you want to have that kind of safety and security so that if something happened to your computer or something happened to your files, you still have them safely somewhere. Right? But what works for you? Do you like things, again, electronic or in a hard paper system? So here we have these 4 steps of effective time management. And time management makes you not only such a better student, but a better employee. When you go get a job, if you can do tasks in half the time that your coworkers do, then you're the one that we're looking to promote. So good time management skills will benefit you whether it's in school, home, in the office, wherever it be. So first of all, figure out where your time goes now. So I challenge you to track your time for a week. Track your time and say, oh, wow, I'm spending this much time online, Googling things. I'm spending this much time here or there, right? Identify what your priorities are. Is it schoolwork? Is your priority a job, a full-time job or part-time job? Build your own schedule. So what works for you? Are you a morning person or a night person? Right? We are all kind of fall into this biological clock. I'm a night person, which means that I do my best work late at night. That's just when my mind works. 6 o'clock a.m., 8 a.m., just, you know, takes me a lot to get going. I'm just not a morning person. So I know that I don't do my writing, I don't do my grading until really the evening time, because that's what works better for me. So I have to build my schedule around knowing that about myself, such as you do too. Use tools to track your progress, right? So I've mentioned before, I use a lot of dry erase boards. I use a lot of different things to help me stay on track and organized. Those are the tools that work for me. All right, so tracking our time, like I kind of mentioned here, take a week and figure out, what are you doing with your time? Is it kind of like nothing? Like, am I being efficient in my time use? Identify your priorities. So are you giving enough time to your schoolwork? Are you giving enough time, even when we talk about relationships, right? They need time. You need to invest time in relationships. Prioritize your commitments. So this is very personal. In other words, this is about you saying, my goal is to financially support my family. Therefore, my priority is education right now. I'm going to get a certificate or a mechanics degree or something that gives me a job that supports my family. And therefore, education is my priority right now. Maybe you have a job and that job is your priority right now. What is your priority? And that's based on your own personal values and goals. We talked about that earlier in this semester, your personal values and goals. When you do this process of prioritizing 1, 2, 3, 4, your commitments, you decide which are most important. Which are most important to you. And that's important for you to acknowledge is what is important to you at this stage of your life. Right? We kind of want to build your schedule, right? So find a scheduling method that works for you. So think about if you're a student, one of your classes, you need to make sure that you book study time. In other words, as a student, you don't just count the time you're in class or the time you're online with me. You're counting the hours that you spend outside of class time to do homework, write papers, take exams, whatever that be, right? So we typically say for every class, you want to set aside 6 hours a week that you should be doing outside reading, assignments, whatever your instructor has directed you to accomplish that week. Think about, when planning your schedule, think about your work schedule, your family schedule. Are there needs in your family? Are you responsible for younger siblings that you take care of, right? School events, extracurricular, do you play a sport? Do you do something that takes up more of your time? We all need something that helps us de-stress, and that's our exercise or our leisure time. If you're a gamer, this is your gaming time. If you like to binge watch Netflix, this is your leisure time, if you will. Right? Reward yourself for working hard. And then what we call white time is really this time where we really don't have anything scheduled and we just really don't do anything. And that's okay. It's okay for us to have some downtime, just not hours upon hours of downtime, right? Because we want to be productive. All right, using the tools to track our progress. So again, estimate how much time we will need for each of those steps in our project. So be accountable to yourself. Hold yourself responsible for completing tasks and meeting obligations. This is hard because, excuse me, we typically say that if you don't have somebody who is your accountability partner, let's say it's your mother, or let's say it's your roommate or your friend, let's say you're on a diet, and you have one cheat day a week where you can have whatever you want. And your friend notices this is your 3rd cheat day this week. Your friend's gonna tell you, hey, right, I thought you had a diet. I thought you only had 1 cheat day a week, not 3. Your friend is trying to hold you accountable. However, what's really important is that you yourself hold yourself accountable. So you need to know and say, okay, I'm supposed to be right now on my schedule. It's study time. Or I'm supposed to be responsible for doing my chores at home. And so I have to do those. I have to be able to do that. And then cross off when you do that, right? I love this, right? I'm a type A personality. And so I love making lists of things to do. And then I love the feeling of crossing off the list because it makes you feel productive. It makes you feel like you did something. Like I feel good about myself because I did it. If I look at my list at the end of the day and out of 10 things I crossed off 2, I'm depressed. I'm bummed because I wasn't either using my time effectively or I just disregarded my schedule, right? So those lists kind of keep you accountable. So here's kind of a sample of if you had a paper to write. So let's say one of the jobs you had to do or projects you have is to write a paper. For instance, in your life management class, you have a goals paper you're writing. This would kind of be an estimation or an outline of how you would estimate how much time you'll need for each part of that project. So kind of having an understanding of what it'll take you, how much time it will take you. Then to-do list, I mentioned this. I like to-do lists, right? I love having lists. It helps you to manage your time and activities on a daily basis by reminding you of the key task. So as I mentioned, I use a lot of dry erase boards in my room, my office space, because they help me to visually see what I'm supposed to do today, what I'm supposed to get done this week, and what I have planned out for the future. Because I need to visually see that for me to be able to say, okay, now don't forget I have to make this appointment for Friday, or don't forget I have to do this or that. And then of course you check or scratch it off once you've done that. So they help you to kind of stay on track when you're tempted to kind of lay down and binge watch Netflix for the next 6 hours. Right, here's a sample again of a to-do list, whether you have reading to do for your class, whether you have exercise you want to make sure to get in, and that is a really important, right, different task that you would do. All right, how to manage your time in an online class, which is what we're in right here, right? So we're in an online class. So the big challenge with online classes is they are not as structured as face-to-face class. What do I mean by that? What I mean is for a face-to-face class, typically the class will, for instance, one of my classes meets Tuesday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. So my students know I show up for class at 5 o'clock, we're out at 8 o'clock, and I come once a week. It's structured. With online class, we don't have that. It is really more on you as a student to understand a new module opens up every Monday morning. It's my responsibility to get all the work done by those due dates and to watch the videos and learn what I need to learn that week, right? You have more responsibility. So they take as much time as your face-to-face traditional classes, actually sometimes more. So they require some discipline. You have to say, okay, no one's going to remind me about this. I need to get that work done when it needs to get done. Or the assignment's going to lock or go away, and I can't submit it late anymore, which is what happens, right? We're learning that. And so I actually commend students that are in online classes, you all, for doing this work, because you are showing a lot of perseverance, dedication, accountability. You are doing what you need to do to be successful by completing your online work. So awesome. All right, procrastination. Most of us are familiar with this word. What does it mean? It means to delay or put off an activity or something that needs to get done, right? You just don't want to do it. That's a big one for us. Procrastination, a lot of it is we don't want to do the assignment. We don't want to do laundry tonight. We don't want to do something. And so what we do is we just push it as far as we can push it to when we really have to get it doing. Yeah, we really have to get it going. So fight that low motivation. So when you just don't have the motivation to get the goals paper going for life management, you have to start moving through it, right? Another big issue or reason why we procrastinate is because we are perfectionist. If you have a personality in which you strive to always achieve an A, be the top of the class, be successful, be a great runner at all your sports, you want to be awesome. You have this perfectionism mentality. And what happens is when we're afraid of falling short of that perfectionism, we procrastinate because we don't want to realize we're not good at that. Right? We don't want to realize we might not be as successful as we'd like to be. And so what we have to first of all do to fix that perfectionism is reframe our expectations. So for instance, if you say something to yourself like, I've never taken a college class before and I want to get an A and I'm stressing out because I don't know if I can get all the work done. And so I'm procrastinating and starting my goals paper. I haven't even started it yet because I'm worried about not being able to do it well. So instead of, this negativism and this kind of procrastination because we're perfectionists, we reframe our thinking and thinking, okay, this is my first online class. I'm already at week 10, so I'm doing it, right? I am being successful at it. I have gone through the other assignments and done them. I'm still learning. And so I believe I can do this too. So you reframe what you expect. Since it's my first college class, maybe I won't get an A, but I'm really striving for a B+. Whatever it is, but you have to kind of let go of this notion to always be amazing at everything, because not all of us can be amazing at everything, right? And then be realistic and just kind of keep moving forward, keep moving forward. A lot of us struggle with procrastination. Minimize distractions. This is going to help us too, right? This is when we have to learn how to say no. So we honor our priorities when we actually sometimes say no, even to something we really would like to do. So for instance, in my situation, I spend a lot of my free time mentoring, because mentoring the next generation is important to me. So I have a lot of different children in elementary schools and even youth and young people that I spend time mentoring. And so I'm passionate about it, but I have to understand that, for instance, I had this organization that I work with. I already have 2 students at that school that I mentor, and they were asking me to take on another student. And I had to say no, because my schedule just doesn't allow me to have the extra time to make more trips and to invest in someone else. At this point, working full time, being a single mom of 3 kids, and doing the community service I already do, I just can't be stretched that much. I have to realize that. And even though I love giving back in this way, I can only do it to a certain amount. And so sometimes we can't do everything. We can't be a leader in this area. We can't be great at swimming. We can't be an awesome student. We can't, there's only so much of our time to give. And so saying no is not a bad thing. Sometimes it's a very healthy thing for you to do. Say no. Find strength in numbers. So in other words, when you get distracted because you're studying in your room or on your bed alone, find somebody else in your class. Or not only that, but what we do at one of our college campuses is we have, when it's midterms or finals week, we open up all of the different kind of community areas or study areas, and all students can come down, and it's open 24 hours a day. So students will actually come down in their sweats or their pajamas, and they will just sit in this room that has couches and different things, and they will just study. They're not talking to the person next to them, but it feels better to study in a room where you know other people are studying. You're not alone in your room trying to study. So again, find that. Use the off switch. So this is a big one. Our electronics are so distracting. They are, whether it's again, binging on Hulu, or whether it's watching shows, whether it's surfing YouTube, whatever it be, it's very distracting. So we have to understand that there is what I call electronic free time and spaces, where if we have homework to get done or something to do, we just can't have that distraction. Your phone goes away until you get what you need to get done, and then you get to reward yourself with your phone. Okay? So again, block out those other distractions, whatever they be. So what we know is getting in the zone, it feels really good. So concentration and reduced self-consciousness. Research suggests that limiting distractions creates the optimal condition for flow. So we work better when we don't have distractions. And I should have mentioned here that one of the things that you may encounter at the bottom is if you have roommates. If you go to a dorm or you live in a dorm situation and you have roommates or people that are with you, you know, sometimes you can't just say, hey, be quiet. They have a right to do some of the things they want to do. And so you have to figure out, how do I use earplugs? How do I distance myself or create a space so that I can focus on what I need to do, yet respect their own options to engage in music or whatever it is that they want to do. Right. Use organization and time management at work. So again, we've talked a lot about school, but I can't tell you how important these 2 skills are, being organized and using time management wisely in the workplace. Because as a manager, I always wanted to hire people or promote people that had these skills, because they're actually making more money for me. If you can do, again, if you can do your job and half the time it takes your coworker to do the same job, then I can give you more responsibility and you can do more work for my company and I'll pay you more. That's the way it works. And so you need to show your supervisors and your bosses that you have these abilities. That's why on resumes, these are great skills to put down, right? Time organization, definitely working well with people, all of those different things. And you show them or demonstrate that at the very first stage of an interview. So when you're in an interview, you should be early to your interview. You're showing good time management, that you're prepared, right? Show you're dependable. This is a big one. I care so much that my employees were dependable. Don't call in sick to go to the beach once or twice a month just because you like to be off. Because that hurts our whole organization. It's different when we get sick, when we have vacation planned. Those things are all understandable, right? But we want to make sure that you are doing your job. Be dependable, right? And people will know, oh, they haven't had a sick day in like a year. Wow, they're awesome. They're dependable. We want those kind of employees. Make time for your personal life. This is so important because you having a healthy personal life makes you a better employee. So make time for your personal life. So it boosts your productivity when you are doing well and all rounded in your life, right? Maintain that healthy work-life balance will help you avoid getting burned out. I had a job, one of my positions where I was a manager of a big department in a big company, and it required a tremendous amount of work. I worked probably 60 to 80 hours a week, easy. I typically went in on Saturdays and worked at the office all day on Saturdays. I stayed late at night going home when it was dark. And I remember one night I was leaving the office really late, and our CEO, our chief executive officer, who's my boss of the whole organization, he came and talked to me, and he told me, you know what? I don't want you to go home at 8 o'clock at night. And he said, you're doing amazing work, you're doing great, but I don't want you to burn out. I want you to be useful to my company. And so I want you to take that personal time to exercise or go out with friends or do things that make sure you have a work-life balance. It shouldn't be all work, right? And he was really right. Right? Now, back then I was single. At the time I didn't have a family, so I didn't mind working 60 to 80 hours a week because I wanted to move up the ladder. I wanted to have more responsibility and make more money, truthfully. Now that I have a family, I'm not looking to work 60 to 80 hours a week, right? I don't want that. But at that time I did. But he was really smart in advising me, have some balance in your life. So that's like really, really important to have that balance. All right, guys, that's it. I will see you for our next module that we will discuss. See you soon.